So I'm actually reviewing your assignment right now. Okay. 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 So there is something called JS formatter. Okay. That gives you, if you put that your script, if you search for JavaScript beautify or JavaScript formatter, there are online editors which can help you. Or what you could do is you could simply put these things into your Firebug. Okay. In your browser, if you go to Java debugger, there JavaScript debugger, there you can put it and it will immediately tell you where exactly is the problem. But anyway, MongoDB also tells you. Let me see. But okay, okay. So map is fine. Map is fine. Okay, I will see to it. Okay. No, it should work. So I have show DBs and I say use and run. I have db.messages. That's okay. I'll figure it out. So headers has got from. Okay, okay. So that is fine. So when I say db.messages and then say map reduce, and where are you saving it? Okay, map and R, and I say out is Gaurav. Okay, okay. Actually, I ran it on the bigger database. What? Okay, I haven't shared anything right now, right? So db.r.find. Okay. So in my case, it has worked fine. That is why I was saying that this looks fine. So maybe it's your data problem somewhere. Okay. Maybe it's your data problem. The way maybe this file you have passed, I mean the collection you have passed. Okay. The collection you have passed to map data is simply nice. So try to check this database on which you are running MapReduce. Is it correct or not? Does it have something called from and under that you have things? Okay. Okay. No, just go to the command and check if all the things are there. Just a second, just a second. I will send the. Oh, I actually. Doesn't this email go to everybody when I send it? Not everybody receives it. Okay. Session 8 Hangout URL. Okay. Yeah, so maybe your data has got some problem. Okay. Now I'll mute you. Hey Sakti. Hey Bhagwat. Hi Samta. And Umang is also joining. Okay. Great, great. So everybody is here. Shreya may not be able to join today. Okay. Okay. So so how is it going with you? I mean, uh, were somebody trying some assignment and was stuck? I can be of help. Let me know. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. So Bhagwat's question is how to load a text file into MongoDB. So if it is not in CSV or if it is not in tab separated format, then you have a little bit of problem. You'll have to write a bit of code, but I mean there are a lot of uh, help available from MongoDB itself. Mongo shell can be of help. So yesterday I showed you, right? In which what I was trying to do is, so the example I gave was this. So I have this tap data which basically records. Oh, he himself has disappeared from the chat. So if somebody else can. Okay, okay. Gaurav has a legitimate question that while. Okay, so people are actually logging out and logging in. Okay, can we do some debugging in MongoDB breakpoints etc? Okay, so let me answer Bhagwat's question first. So Bhagwat, are you able to hear because you were disconnected? Is everybody able to hear clearly? Okay, okay, okay. Actually, I have not shared my screen. Okay, right now there is nothing much on the screen. And yeah, so cool then. So I will be first answering Bhagwat's question. So yesterday I gave a demo about how to read a local file and read it. Okay. This I somehow find it myself because I haven't seen anywhere mention of this technique where you use cat command of the local text local client to load a file and then put it in the database. So so how many of you got understood that part? How many of you understood that uh, how to load a text file the way I demonstrated yesterday? Okay, okay. Sakti is saying, could you repeat the same thing? So you want, so the question is that if you have a locally a text file, oh, is it so? Did I actually give a demo? Because I remember I gave a demo and I remember answering everybody's question. Okay, thank you. I did. I thought I was running a sort of selective amnesia. Okay, great, great. Uh, so I will, yeah, this is what Samta, thank you Samta, yeah. So this is what I gave. So I'll give it a little demo of what I was doing earlier. So what I was trying to do is this is my tap data. When you tap your phone, is accelerator moves and basically you can and that accelerometer keeps on giving you the readings of acceleration of the phone in various direction X, Y and Z. Basically every time you tap a phone it moves in a certain direction, and when you double tap it then again the acceleration happens. And if I could figure out the double tap by understanding the different understanding the patterns of acceleration, then even if your phone is in the pocket and you are not, you know, the phone is not on, I mean the phone is not active, as in it's you are not pressing power button, you should be able to trigger an event. Okay. If it's in pocket, you can just double tap it and then you can trigger an event such as call emergency or something. So you don't have to take a phone out. So I was trying to work on this. It worked well, just that I had to drop it in between because it was consuming more than 25% of the battery even when it's not in use. Okay. There are some hardware problems. Okay, so that was the use case I was working on, and these were my coordinates. So every time um, so so on the left hand side you see the first column is the milliseconds from the time it started, and then second one is the acceleration in x direction. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. How can you see? Okay. So in this folder I have x, y, and z three files. Okay. And in this so if you see underscore. Okay, thank you, Bhagwat, to help me out. Great. Now, can you see? Okay. So, in this file, there are so many files. Just let's have a look at, say, x.txt, which is milliseconds here, and then underscore y.txt, which is there. Okay. and then we have jet.txt. So we have three files, and right. So one way would be to load these into MongoDB is using the Mongo client, and this is probably the best way because the data is not too huge. So I went to Mongo. Wait a second. Good. So we have, let's say I make a database called Tappy, and say use Tappy, and x equals cat of underscore x.txt. So x is now a string containing all of these values. Okay. Okay. Or now what I could do is that I'm just thinking what should I be doing. Okay. Okay. This is a better idea. So what I want to basically do is I have got three separate files, underscore x, underscore y, and underscore z. Okay. A better idea would be to have a single document in which the key is my time, okay, and value is basically, or let me say x is something, and y is something, and z is something. These are the accelerations in three dimensions. This is what I want to achieve after this. So, I mean, these are the various documents which are going to be there. How can I achieve this? So first I loaded the file in X, and I'm just trying to think. Hmm, hmm, okay, okay. Hmm. So let's just go over for now. X contains this string, and then I split it on the new line and give it a name of saying line equals x dot split. Okay. Now I have splitted it, so lines. I have got lines here, and for each I can say lines for each function line, and I say line dot split by tab, and okay, I will have to assign it. So now I got an array which is basically after splitting it. Now array would be having two values, key and value. And now let's say I say uh, let's call it accelerometer dot insert, and what I do is I put the key as underscore id as the array 0. Okay, and then I say x is your X is your array 1, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So if you see now, we have achieved this. For each millisecond, we have got acceleration in the x direction. Okay, Bhagwat, right? Now, what we want to do is for that particular moment, we also have recordings for y and z. Okay, so similarly, what we will do now is we will read the file for y. We will read the file for y, and then we will start querying the documents and updating those documents. Okay. Or does anybody has a better idea? Now similarly, I said y equals cat of underscore y dot txt. Now y is there similar to what we just did. Okay. So first we will split lines equals y dot split with a new line. Okay. And then the way we have done it here, for each line array we have splitted, and what we will do is, okay, what we will one way is to do is, one way to do is that we say my doc equals db dot axle dot find array 0. Okay, and I say underscore id equals this. Okay, this way I'll find my doc which I'm looking for, and then in the doc I can, you know, set y equals y equals, basically you'll have to put 0 because it's a 0th doc, and I'm hoping that it should work. Okay, in case the here you can do a check also, but don't worry about this. uh, Here we can do the check if the doc is not found, if there is the length of the doc. Here the doc will be a cursor. Okay, and let's call it doc 0, and we have got everything in the doc. Now what we can do is d equals array 1, and then say db dot update db dot axle dot update our document. Okay, let's see if it works. Need an object at this location. So let's see where did we go wrong. Okay, so we have got lines, and we said pick the 0th line out of this. Okay, and okay. So basically the problem starts here because 0 and 1 do not have anything at all in them. So let's start reading from 3 onwards. Okay, 0 2 onwards, and then we will see how it goes. Okay, so we say instead of writing this way, we will just take it out. Okay, So it might sound a bit of dragging, but let's finish it. Okay. So I'm saying here, can you see? I'm saying that array is split, and then I'm saying this. So here for line for I equals 0. Before that, remember that what we have done is y equals cat of underscore y dot txt, and then after doing this we did a split. We did a split on something called new line, and now we are reading all of these lines. Okay, and I'm saying I less than lines dot length and I plus plus. Okay, and we say line equals lines and I. Now, as we said, let's start from 2 rather than 1, and then it should work out. Okay, so again, and similarly, what we could do is we could actually do something like this. For uh, basically, we say underscore x dot txt, and then we say underscore y dot txt, and then say for each. Okay, like this. So this is the beauty of JavaScript, which allows you any logical operations in a very decent manner. Or you can here you can basically, how should I say, right, for each file, and I say like this, and I can also write a function like this. Okay, so basically for each of these file y and z, this is what we are going to do. But anyway, here we'll have to make a change, right? Because in one case there is y, in other case it's z. So let's just not do it. Right now let's assume that the name of the file is this. Okay, okay, never worry. Okay. Here we've got lines which is loaded all the values for y coordinates of acceleration, and then we are trying to load. A better idea is to keep the curly braces here. Okay, so it is saying that need an object to at 13. So in these cases, how do you basically debug? So let's start with 2. Okay, it says fine, we have come with 2, and then we are trying to split it. Now we have got an array with 16. Now we go to second line and we say, let's have a look at the document. So it's fine, we have got the document, and now, okay, it says that we are trying to do some mistake. Okay, wait, let me just, doc is fine, we did right, and then, okay, we don't need to do this actually. Yeah, we don't need to do this step. The doc is anyway, and let's have a look at what goes here. So, yeah, this is also a better way. Yeah. So we pick it up, and let's say, yeah, and then I say doc and doc. Okay, doc.y, perfect, and okay, need an object at this db.excel.help. Okay, and here there is would be update. Okay, okay. So if I say save, it should work. Yeah. So db dot axle dot find underscore id to be, what was my query? Right, right. So basically I don't have to do say update. I was forgot that we could use save. Cool. Now we could say db dot if doc. Okay. So here, since we have already included the second, we could just say 3 and start the whole process. Okay, perfect. Now if you see axle.find, it has added y to it. Okay. Now similarly, what you could do is you could take this code and then you say underscore z and start from I equals 2 and then split, and then here you could say z. Okay, similarly, and basically, yeah, so you read it, then you, now if you see, we have loaded all the data. Okay, great. For the simplicity reason, I went to a little longer path, which was this. Okay, in this, basically first I did here and then here. You can actually couple them together by having a sort of array with the file name and the dimension name, and then read it from there and just keep it here. Okay. You could further do it in a all three in a single loop. If one more step you go ahead, where if the doc is not found, create the doc with the this ID. Okay, with this ID. If it is not there, then you create one. Okay. Yeah. So there is a doc with null values if you see. Thank you. So this is for the first one. If you remember, if you have a cat underscore and underscore x dot txt, and I say split on new line. Okay. I have this one. How should I? Yeah. So x dot x dot. So 0 is this, 1 is this, 2 is this. So problem occurred in case of x because uh, we started from here, the first line. Okay, it had no value actually. The first lines did not have value. That is why there is a document with null values. Yeah, so you can omit these kind of values, null values, by putting a check here. You'll have to put a check here saying if line does not here, you can put a check. If line, you know, not here, here saying if line dot length is less than 3, less than 2, then continue. Okay, so it will skip all those records. Okay, as you go on, you keep on improving your code, and this will become your import code. Make sense? Was I able to explain? So in this, you can basically you can keep on optimizing this code so that it is you are able to uh, you know use the single piece of code for everything. So the idea was to first insert x coordinates, and then for the same keys we insert update save the document. Okay, and then for the same keys we update the document again. Okay. Or if you have a see, in this approach there is a problem. If you remember, when we update too much of data, right? So we created a document, we are trying to update it two times. There are chances of you know overload. Okay. So what we could do is we could basically write a uh, basically insert different documents for different dimensions. So this is second approach I'm talking about. Okay. In this, if we inserted the ID as some we did not say we do not insert any ID. We insert milliseconds as some value, and then we insert x coordinate some value and y coordinate some value. No, so we insert this, then we insert another document for the y with the same value. So separately, we kept on doing it for x, we kept on doing it for y, and similarly we did for z. Separate document for each record in each dimensions. Okay, right? So basically, it has this form of document in the beginning. Okay, this one, all right? And later point of time, when you want to combine them together, you could use a MapReduce to make this as the key and then combine the values. Okay. That's also one approach, but this is good enough. Okay. So Bhagwat, Gaurav, Sakti, Umang, and Samta, any questions now? Okay. Yes, carry on. Go on. The part you were not clear was which one? Okay, so right. So actually, I did not do that. I skipped that because there are issues with it. Okay. So if you do this and you basically probably can you do this? I think so. Okay. Right. You can do that. So yeah. So basically, there I was trying to say that you could do for Y and Z in a single shot, or maybe you can do it all in the single loop if you combine all these things together. Right. So what you could do is you can under this. Oh right. All right. Yeah, you are sort of right because it's the you are saying that how would I call this, right? So you can call in this, right? I'll show you. So if you say underscore x.txt underscore y.txt, and then for each of the file, what I do is I say file equals is split, file equals cat, and then L. Okay, and then I say print L. Print L dot split by new line, and then I say give me the 0. Okay, so this bracket is closed, this is closed. Uh-oh, not this, I'll say file. Yeah, see, you were able to do that. Okay, right? So in the loop, you can load the files and cat them together. Great, great. So if we concatenate them, we might lose a lot of information because we have no way to distinguish which one came from Y and which one came from Z. Okay, so anybody has a similar kind of doubt? Because this is the last class, I would like to keep it more of a discussion and then of you know one way, because security and all, you can quickly have a look at the manual and most of the questions will be answered for you. Okay, so with respect to aggregations, with respect to anything, if you have any doubt, I would like to clarify it now. Oh, that will be like spamming everybody. So I'll just paste this section. Okay, I'll just paste this section, and then you can manipulate it. Okay, it's the same for the rest one. Cool. Which one? The last one? You mean to say first one? Oh, okay, okay. Just a second. So this one. This is just a sample. Okay. So was I able to give a clear picture, and should we move on? Bhagwat? Great, great. Okay, okay. Great, great, great. So these, see, most of the problems occur at the import time. Okay. So because when you get stuck at the beginning point itself, when you are not able to import the data, you will not move ahead, and that will stop you from experimenting. That is why you should try a lot with respect to importing the data. Okay, and this is very important aspect in any real problem, even as simple as this problem where I was just noting down x, y, z on various values. It was important to know. It was actually very important to know how do I churn this data. And to churn this data, MongoDB's MapReduce could come handy because in couple of hours I will reach to millions of records because I was recording it per milliseconds. Okay, I was recording it every 10 or 20 milliseconds, the acceleration, and then was plotting the graph on it, and then was trying to figure out the pattern, the rate at which the acceleration goes up and acceleration goes down when you tap it. Okay. So to even this small problem might become a big data problem if you are storing a single device's data for a day. Okay. At every say 20 millisecond, if you start storing, it will become a big data problem. Okay. I have some agenda today. Okay. That agenda is not very big. It is basically I'll do a hands-on with respect to the security, how to create user, how to add, give various kinds of permissions. And then I will talk about the Java code. How do you access MongoDB from Java? And how do you do what you are doing from the command line using Java? Okay, got it? Right, it is similar to Python. I have not prepared a demo for Python yet. Okay, and then I'll discuss about what is the today's project. I mean the whole project. Okay. And if you guys have thought about some project, we can discuss it. Okay. And you know, you get two people working together and move on. Okay. So let's get the hands dirty a bit. Okay. So everybody is good to go. Let's move. Okay. Now let me share my complete desktop. Okay. Before I share the desktop, if you have any questions, because before I share the desktop, if you have any questions, you put it now because I will not be able to see the comments. So Gaurav's question is, so for debugging, we need to run each command separately to breakpoint concept. I have no idea actually. That's a good point. Basically, the way if you see in the Firebug, you could inspect step by step. You can step by step debug your JavaScript while doing the inspection on each point. We could probably do the similar thing for Mongo also somewhere. Need to find that out. Okay. That is one way. Basically, keep two documents and then start debugging it and start commenting a piece of code and then one by one, you keep on testing it. And the other way would be basically there should be a way. I have not found it yet. I've not yet found it. They haven't built a IDE or something. Okay. And that will be an interesting thing to do. I'll find it out and then let you know. Okay. Somewhere where we can debug our MapReduce code stepwise. And if it is not there, I would actually like to do a sort of a maybe Firebug kind of a script where you have do it. No, JSBin is different case altogether. Okay, JSBin does not let you debug script, right? JSBin is just to copy paste your JavaScript. Alright, but see, lots of time, even if it gives error on a single doc, what will you do? I mean, debugger has got its own value. So I'll find it out. I'll find it out and let all of you know if there is a, if I can debug my JS stepwise. Okay, I'll just make a note of it. Because being able to debug stepwise and see values on the fly is a very very useful thing when you have lot of data, when you have a big code in MapReduce logic. Okay, you remember Bhagwat, yesterday we had this problem. You had emailed us that saying that your reduce is not being called. If we had a debugger, we could have quickly seen that hey, reduce is being skipped. Okay, so ideally you should have all of these tools available. Now you are saying what role does a B tree have in MongoDB? Conceptually, it is not possible. What is conceptually not possible? The ability to debug? No, 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 it is possible, definitely possible. That means you haven't debugged JavaScript yet. Okay, it is definite. Not really. When you can debug a multi-threaded environment, when you have thousands of threads running the same piece of code, you can definitely run MapReduce, or you can make it a single node thing. Okay. Your problem is that if it is being run on multiple machine, how am I going to do that and this? It should be possible. In case of Java, it's possible. You can actually remote connect to any of the systems. Okay. Now your question, I'll quickly answer. Can anybody answer that question? What is the role of B tree in MongoDB? Okay, perfect, perfect. Exactly. So indexes are used in search, and Sakti is saying for search, and yeah. So that is the main role of B tree. Okay. You can think of B tree as something which aids you, something like a binary tree, but very broad binary. In case of binary tree, you have only single node at the top most. But in case of B tree, there are multiple nodes, and on the second level there are further multiple nodes. Okay. So, and then on third level there are lots of nodes, and then the actual data is in the disk. So you only retain 3 or 4 levels of nodes in memory while actual data stays in the disk. Okay. It is completely opaque to you. You do not have to worry. Just like when you in case of and B tree is not a new idea. B tree has been since the ages, since 80s. Okay. And it's completely opaque in the sense that when you do a select star from a table in normal databases where x equals something, so you are and x has got an index, so this index in the traditional databases is also either a data structure called b tree or b plus tree. Okay. In case of MySQL, it was B plus tree. In case of MS SQL and Oracle, it was B tree. So these are standard data structure and are quite you don't have to think in terms of B tree at all. You all have to think is it's a nice sorted list in which you can the database searches very quickly. Okay. And basically search was fine until till we could retain all the index in the memory. Okay, the binary search was beautiful till the point we could do everything in memory. But then an index goes huge and you cannot keep it in memory. So people found out a way that how we can only maintain ranges of things in the memory while actual data stays in the disk. Okay. And doing it dynamically, maintaining the ranges of the actual values into the memory and while keeping all the values into the disk. How do they do it efficiently? That is what a B tree is about. Okay. So if you have got a lot of names of people, you say all the names start from A to Z are in this node. A to J are here, and from J to M here, and so on in this file, in this file, in this file. And when people are searching for any of those, you exactly go and look at that file. And you keep on reducing, shortening these ranges as the data grows big or small. So you again the same question. So basically indexes are used for searching when you say aggregations. SQL does it. SQL does the B trees. Everybody does it. So everybody does whenever there is a see when you are searching it's as simple as that. When you are looking for a value in a list of values, you use a binary search tree. Okay. Binary search tree or binary search. You keep on jumping back and forth and eliminate half of it every time. Okay. Right. So anytime you need to search for something in a list of values which is sorted, you use a binary search. But if the values binary search has to have all the things in the memory, and that's where the B tree come into play. So they keep partial data into the disk and partial data into the memory so that you can search and then retrieve from the disk. Okay. So that is the reason. That is the reason we use it in everywhere. Okay. Okay. And it's pretty decent. If you are little more technically inclined and you want to learn computing and data structure, it is actually good to go through some manual on B trees. Okay, it will take a little bit of time, but they have been, for ages, so they have accumulated a lot of, optimizations by various people. Okay, so yeah, so 1 hour is finished. So I hope this was interesting for all of you. Gaurav, Sakti, Samta, Umang. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Okay. The main agenda is not that big an agenda. Okay. Can be handled easily. And so basically, what I'm going to do is now I'll show you a script here. I'll share first. So this is my screen. And now let's move to this. This is Gaurav's assignment. Okay. So first of all, before basically in your you'll have to locate your mongodb.conf To find your mongodb.conf, you generally say which mongodb, and it will tell you a folder location here. And then what you can do is you say vim instead of bin. If you type etc and then say mong.conf, you'll get this. Okay. So in this, for enabling the authentication on Mongo, you'll have to enable auth equals to true. Okay. Now, before we start anything, we'll have to create an admin user. Otherwise, you will not be able to do anything. To create an admin user, you go to admin database and do this. Okay. Now go to Mongo. It says that it already exists. Okay. Now, which means that we don't have to worry about it because I might have already. And if you say user, super user, user, and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay, I forgot what password I had kept. No worries. So I will go to Mongo command again and db dot use admin, and I will say db dot help, and there will be a way to remove a user. Db auth create user, and then we drop or delete a user. Can you see? Drop user. Yeah, I found it. So we can say drop user and say super user. So if we see show collections will have system use admin. Okay, and then drop user. Yeah, now we are able to drop. And collections, and we say system db.system.users. Note that it is possible to create a collection with that name. Okay. 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 And an ideal way to be, deleting all of this. Okay. So db dot drop users, drop user, and then I can't see my cursor. Okay. So I'm dropping all the users one by one, and similarly guest and guest one. So there is no user as of now that exists. Okay. So show collections, system role, system users. Perfect. Now let's try to create a user now. Note that the syntax, when you're creating a super user, you want to by default give him a role. Okay. So you created this. Now we have got user, super user, and we can create rest of the things later because we wanted just one user so that we can experiment. Okay. Now let's enable the authentication. Okay. We go here and then say vim mongod, and here we say auth equals true. This is my mongod config, and then in case of Linux, you can do service uh, service stop and then say your mongod, or in case you are just launching through config file, by providing config file, and you are not disturbing the existing installed services, then you don't have to do anything. You have to just restart, close your daemon and then restart it by providing the new updated config file. Okay. Now here we say this, and then we start it. This is the Unix way of saying the same thing, like service.start. Instead of services, they call it launch control. And now it is started. So if I try to say show DBs, okay, it says not authorized on admin execute command. Okay. Now what you do is, okay, here how do you authenticate? Okay. Now I can say super user, and I say password is my 1234567 8. Okay, let me have a look at Mongo command line. How do I pass the password? Okay, minus P and minus D is admin. Yeah. So basically now I am able to connect to the admin database. So remember, in case of MongoDB, whenever you're creating a user belongs to a database. Okay. A admin user can exist for multiple database differently. Okay. Like for example here itself. So whatever database we are having, first let's just do most of the cases. Okay, okay. So see, the way we have just created the admin user, we can create for our databases which we want to plan. So this is a strange thing is that this is only for per databases. Okay, so you'll have to create the admin user in every database. Okay, but right now don't worry about it. We will just stick to the a database called admin and do the rest. Okay. Let me have if you have a question. Yeah, false means that the command failed because I was using another database. Samta, that was the answer to your question. Okay. So each database will have a collection called admin. Am I correct? Not really, not really. It's not collection, it's database. Okay. And the collection is here. If you see, show collections. So by default, I'm connected to a database called admin. It has got various collection. One is MyDB and rest. These are system created collections. System.role, system your user, system.version. So each database, if you can't see so DBs right now. So these are the various databases. If I have to use Enron, okay, and I say show collection right now. So Enron is sort of a public, I think. That is why I'm able to do it. Okay. and say use test show collections. Okay. Here right now I'm able to do it, but if it is some other user or maybe for other users, they might not be able to see the databases. So you'll have to go and create for each database. Okay. No, I did not do it because here the user I'm created is a super user, so probably it's allowing me to do that. But if I'm creating a user, which okay, so it says authentication failed. Here I have provided the role to this guy as a very powerful roles. Powerful role is root here. So similarly, you can also create another users, okay, like guest and all. Okay. Now guest is created for the database called admin, and then you can create another one called guest one, and we'll give them the permissions. Okay. We'll give them the permissions to do various options, and also we can see the what are the permissions a user is having by command called uh, running a command called user info db dot. There'll be another parallel here. Okay, host info, server port, shutdown version, get Mongo, get collections, evaluate current user, create users. Okay. uh, okay. Never mind. So to get the information on any user, you can do db.run command and user info is guest. Okay. So privilege is true. It shows that it has got some privileges. Let's see what are the privileges given to the super user. These are the various privileges given to the super user. Okay. And this is by the virtue of being a root. Okay. Okay. Role is root here. Okay. So these are the various permissions given to the role. It is called inherited privileges from the root. So so a root can do almost everything. So, and if you have a plan to create lots of users, it is better to create roles upfront. Okay. So a role has got privileges and role can be assigned to a user. Okay. S- So you don't have to keep on assigning the privileges to the individual users. So you create these buckets called roles to which we give the permissions and then put users in those roles. And we keep on moving the roles from people user from one role to another. Okay, so already this reporting role in admin exists. Okay. So if you see under the privileges, what are the actions this person can take is such as this person can do create a shard. So if you have got a subordinates whose duty is to add the shards only, so you can assign them this role. Similarly, the person can do find, update, insert, and other things on on a database called config, and on a database called users, and on this particular collection they can do update. So this way you can fine tune the complete access to all the resources, and this person cannot manipulate the database called admin. It can read the database only. Okay. So we have created a user called our reporting role, and we can say run command and user info. Okay, basically what was that command? User info, show privileges to user info, yeah, and show privileges true. No such command. It says no such command. How come? Users info. Okay. So I did right thing, right? Oh, I'm not passing a value. Okay, okay. Is there a command called roles info or role info? No, it's not there. And at the same time, basically here when we're creating our role, we have said inherit these roles. Okay. Inherit these roles. These are the various privileges we are giving to this. And we are also telling that what is the right concern these guys can have. Okay. So by default, whenever they are writing, what is the you remember the right concern part when we are talking about? So either it could be per person, per user request if they want to get a right concern, or we could also enforce it by making it a part of their uh, role definition. And then we can add this particular role to the user. Okay. So here we are granting a particular role to a person. Okay. So we are granting the read access to guest. We are granting read access to guest here. Okay. Similarly, we are granting the roles to users. Okay. Another one. Okay. Similar to the previous one. And then this is how you can actually check the roles. Okay. The one which I was looking earlier. So if I say our reporting role, you will have this nice our reporting role. Yeah. So all of the roles permissions you can see there. Okay. And you can run this command and then you can log in and confirm. Okay. Now uh, I hope that I did not lose you guys. Okay. I have a general question. Does MongoDB has some command tool to support streaming data? I mean, if I want to insert a real-time incoming tweets or some real-time feed, how should one can handle it in the Mongo? Right, right, right. Anybody wants to answer? So, I mean, a better idea is to say the way I would call Mongo is using this way: db.mydb.insert and then pass it to Mongo. Okay. So every time, this is one way. Okay. So it will execute this command after launching Mongo. But it has got its problems whereby you will have to create the connection every time. So basically, in those cases, either you use the Mongo shell itself or you use the API. So I did not understand what difference does it make? If you have a lot of data which is coming in your web app, you basically keep the connection open to MongoDB and keep on inserting the data. And it's pretty decent for Mongo actually to do that because that's what it was designed for. You keep a huge journal, you keep a bigger size of oplog. Oh, I mean, not journal, you can keep a bigger size of oplog and then keep on inserting. So was I able to answer, Gaurav? Gaurav? Right. See, the connection which is open will keep all of this dynamics in I mean, there is no such thing as I mean, how should I describe? Okay. So your question is that as and when the data comes in, you should push it to MongoDB. This job is to be done by your application. Okay. So your application, you need to write a logic such that you keep, say there is a service which is going to give you a lot of data, and you keep the connection to that service open. You read from there, and as and when the data arrives to you, you tell MongoDB to add these records. So you'll have to do it by yourself. MongoDB, I don't think provides you that part. Yeah. So the client code of yours is supposed to handle those aspects. So, so what I just did was I tried to create some users, create some roles, and assign people to those roles. Okay. And other part which we had discussed earlier. So now, if you are creating, if you are basically creating your configs, MongoDB config, you could also do one last thing there, as here mentioned here, that you create a certificate. Okay, you create a certificate like this: open SSL REQ new, and basically this way you create a 509 a .509 certificate which you can share with all of your devices. So when we were trying to set up our MongoDB, we were facing a challenge when we were, I was allowing you to set up the clusters. Okay. So we were facing a challenge that if we run it on public IP, then everybody will be able to access it. Okay. And if we don't run it on public IP, how will they communicate with each other? How would Mongo shard communicate to replica set? And how would it communicate to the config server? So the idea was, if we create login password, it would not be of much help because people will still be able to connect to it. Okay. So what you do is you create, I mean, this 509 certificate and save it on each machine, and then these machines should be able to communicate with each other. Okay. So this is one way. Okay. This is one way. So I will try to do it on on this cluster, maybe later point of time, not right now, and try to set it up and also let you guys know. But right now, what you do is, without worrying about security or anything, go ahead and set up your cluster on the public IP addresses. Okay. What do I mean by public IP addresses? The IP address you mention in bind underscore IP in the config should be public as mentioned in the table. Okay. So do not worry about anything right now. You do that. Okay. And in case we run our MongoDB uh, use on the local IP addresses, it will become difficult to connect from anywhere. Okay. So you can also try doing it. And yeah. And in case you face any difficulty, just let me know. Can we use OpenID as user or yeah, I mean single sign-on is provided by these guys, and it is basically Kerberos and two more things I described yesterday. One was Kerberos and one was this 509 certificate, and there was one more thing. So it generally supports most of this standard LDAP and Kerberos. Now Gaurav's question is that and OpenID is for web, not for these daemons. Okay, I'm not sure if OpenID works in these cases. And similarly, if I need to only capture the changed data from Mongo, so again, it's client code or Mongo provides some mechanism like SQL, like Oracle provides log underscore SCN. Okay, okay, that's an interesting question. Interesting question. So what you are saying is that you make a mark that from this point I have taken a snapshot. Okay. And then at later point of time when you come in, you should get a oplog entries from that point onwards. Okay. Okay. I doubt if that is provided. I doubt that is provided. I might have to look it up. I might have to look it up. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I doubt if it is provided yet. Okay. I doubt if it is provided, but can I mean we can look at it. Okay. And I'm just thinking how would it work? Because MongoDB anyway has a way to store the changes in terms of entries, and there should be some way if we can keep the entries for a little longer and persist it somewhere, which we can distribute later point of time instead of only the in the kept collection. So you can, yeah, that is, temporal way of doing it, what you are suggesting right now. Temporal way of doing things is that you have a table for which you want to keep the record of when the data was created. So you create a column called timestamp. And then whenever you are adding this record, you put now in that field, and this timestamp is automatically updated to the current time. That is one way. And but I mean, I don't know if MongoDB actually provides you a way to do a CDC. Okay. Okay. You guys want a break for 10 minutes? Let's take a break at 10 minutes and then come back at 8:40. Hi, I'm back. Are you guys back? I don't see Sakti and Umang. Okay. Bhagwat is back, Gaurav is back. I'm waiting for Sakti and Umang. Okay, so Gaurav has got a general question. If in production environment, generally how many machines are required for MongoDB? I I think we need minimum three. One for config, one for MongoS, two for shards, having two replica nodes. It seems quite a hardware requirement. I mean, if you look at it that way, it is not too much of hardware, but it does sound like a too much of hardware in the beginning. Okay. This configuration will suffice for quite some time for you. Okay, because you have got enough of hardware already in place. So four servers are pretty good to go. Okay. So Gaurav's follow-up question is, so if I have few TBs of data, say 5 to 10 TB, so in that case, whether I should prefer Mongo or some other DB, SQL or no SQL. See, if you have got 5 to 10 TB, normal SQL is out of the picture. Normal SQL starts crying over 80 GB itself, 100 GB, 80 GB, they start crying. Or even your usual sorting and all the existing techniques start giving a very, very bad response time. Okay. After the data goes beyond 100 GB itself. So the simple B tree search, simple sorting, all of that start giving you troubles, meaning that it becomes extremely slow. Okay. So in that you will have to, if you have to churn that much of data, you will have to come up with a strategy that what is it that you're planning to do. And in those cases, probably a MongoDB is a good choice. Or if you have an HDFS, that is also a good choice. Based on now, so it is decided when you have 5 TB of data and you want to do certain kind of analytics on top of it. So it is very clear your existing solutions will face a lot of difficulty, okay, uh, in the response time. So now your choice is either go for things like MongoDB or things like Hadoop. So you can either go for Hadoop also because in case of Hadoop, the usual way of doing things is little slowish in the sense that it is batch processing mainly. Okay, so in because it's mostly the batch processing in case of Hadoop. So if you are planning to have a high response time and have a high performance concern, then you go for a thing like MongoDB. It should be able to handle 5 terabyte of data easily. So I mean hardware footprint would be in case of, I mean in normal usual case, right? There will be scalability problems with the existing databases. Okay. And no matter what you do, you will end up with a very bad response time in case of SQL databases. So you'll anyway have to go for a NoSQL, or maybe you will have to go for something like HDFS. So what exactly do you plan to do with this 10 terabyte of data? So you have around 6 terabyte of data and you are looking to create master repository of customer data. Interesting. So if any new customer comes, we need to do the matching. Okay, okay. to find the duplicate data. Okay, okay. So in my opinion, what you do in this case, because you have to do a matching, right? And this match response has to be extremely fast, right? So if I had to do the same thing, the parameters, whatever are there, I'll keep all of those data into, and wherever new customer comes in, you'll do have to do this matching here and there, whether email ID is matching already or whether more than three parameters are matching with existing customer. So in those cases, probably you would, I mean, having having a database like MongoDB would be good idea. You form all the user objects, whatever parameters you require in a user object, you feed, you create these JSON object as and insert it in the, I mean, create the documents and have a collection ready. Now, whenever the request is coming from the user, you just query MongoDB and ask whether this user exists or not. Okay, and then or you query all the users with that first name and then with the first name and then verify whether it is right or wrong. Okay, so I mean, I think MongoDB will do a pretty good job here because what you are looking for a solution which has a cache inbuilt as well as something some more storage. Okay, and MongoDB does a pretty good job there. Okay. Okay. Right, right, right. I think MongoDB will do a pretty good job here because y once you are able to form the objects representing your customer and you fill in with all this information and create all the indexes and the buckets, you should be able to do a decent job here. And I mean, I'm just thinking, it shouldn't be 6 terabyte of data. I mean, even if the whole world is your customer, then also, I mean, depends what exactly are you storing of the user. Okay. So I think MongoDB will do a decent job here. As opposed to, I would not recommend in this circumstance, basically Hadoop cluster for this. Okay. A Cassandra might be good, but handling object wise in this scenario is pretty far better. Okay. And also you can tune the consistency in the sense that okay, yeah, so you can do the querying, right? You can do the querying. The whole aggregation framework is there. uh, you have find command over there, and on top of it, in a lot of circumstances we used to do and similarly you have phonetic search also as part of the text search, so that should do a pretty good job for you. Okay, so I mean, most of these ideas of search are, I think, taken from Lucene or Solar. Okay, you can check that in case of MongoDB. So you should be able to search a user based on various kinds of strings. Okay, because it has all those functionality like stemming and phonetic search. I mean, the way the words are being pronounced and all that. Okay, so you can try it. You can try it. I think it suits your need. I think it suits your needs. Okay. So should we continue or should you have, because these are very good case studies, Gaurav. Okay. So the reasoning behind choosing a database is a very difficult thing in today's time. Okay. Specifically when there are so many things around. And this use case, what you have just told, is a good candidate for MongoDB kind of installation. Had it been a scenario where you are just storing lot of files, and you don't know what to do with them right now, I would suggest a HDFS kind of platform. Okay. If you were trying to store a little bit of relational kind of data, and in that case, I would suggest a Cassandra installation. While since you are trying to store more of a document oriented, more of a object oriented data, meaning the customers, and you want text search, both of these things are good with MongoDB. Cassandra, I doubt if they have a inbuilt text search. Okay, so that way, okay, you'll have to do a lot of magic out there. Here, uh, it's equivalent to just creating one index and forgetting about it, and that search is ready for you. Okay, so you can try that, and I'll have to do a little bit of research if. Yeah, but I mean, using Hadoop or any of this will be an overkill right now. Okay, will be an overkill right now. If you are planning for long term that we will have all the big data storage at single place and all of that, then in that case you could go for Spark and Hadoop. Okay, but anyway, we'll do the comparison. Okay, okay, these are very good questions actually. Okay. We'll do the comparison and also write to all the teammates about the conclusion and why did we select X over Y. Okay. Now we have okay. Now there is another file demonstrating a similar set of commands and also with the description on the MongoDB access controls and also tells you how to use in Java. So what I'm going to do now is to show you how to use MongoDB project, okay, in Eclipse. So how many of you who all is acquainted with Eclipse? Okay, okay. Samta is not, Gaurav is not, Gaurav, okay, Gaurav is. So other than Gaurav, nobody is. Where did these guys go? I think they have taken off. Or are they trying to join and not able to join? Let me just ping them. Okay, yeah. Okay, great, great. So I'll go a little slow, and Samta and Bhagwat keep on telling me if I did something wrong. Okay. So probably you must have done some programming somewhere in C or C++ or Java some other time, sometime, right? Maybe during college or somewhere. So let me just go to this one. You can't see my screen right now, right? Okay. I will share the desktop. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the desktop, and here is my project. Okay, uh-oh, it's pointing to somewhere else. So we have got Java hands-on here. It's a zip file. I'll share it correctly, and let me give the correct link to people. I will also update in the website, and then I can. How do you download? Yeah, this way. So I've just downloaded this Java hands-on. Here, so this is my Java hands-on file. Now I've got this folder called Mongo in my downloads. I will move it to anyway. We'll leave it here. We'll leave it here. Then I have Eclipse installed. Basically, Eclipse is a programming environment where we do programming in Java. Okay. Java is similar to C, C++. It's just little bit more object oriented and it doesn't have pointers. Eclipse is like a huge editor in which there are hundreds of plugins. And Java J2E is just one plugin. You can also have C++ plugins. You can also have XML plugins where you can edit XML files and all that sort of things. So it's quite powerful and little bulky. So I have already some project open here. Okay. Now, okay. I say file and then go to import an existing project into the file system and select the folder which I just downloaded, and here it is. Okay. And say open. This is detected. So as part of this project, it has got one folder. This is the folder. Okay, this is what is just imported. This is one folder. This is my main file where I'll be writing the code. And this is my library. This is my library. And as in, what does it mean by library? All the driver code, how to connect to the MongoDB, is there in this file. The definition, you see these are my classes, which says that connect to the, I mean, use this class, and use this class, all of this. And since it's not found, it's giving us an error. So if you create control 1, it says fix project setup. Okay. In this project setup, what we do is we remove this and then we say add library. Okay. Add library, we have that jar as part of our project, and that's it. We are good to go. Now all the errors will disappear. Now let me explain to you the class file from top. These are the various classes which we require. So we imported all of the classes which we require in this one. These are the standard Java packages which we require. This also is a standard Java package. This is my class file. Every code is supposed to be in a class. Okay. and this class has got a main function. Okay, and whatever the name of the class is same as the file name, one public class. Okay. And this is my function from here to here inside this class. And if the your class has got a function called main, public static void main, that means it can be executed from the command line. Okay. So to directly connect to your no, okay. So first of all, you create an object called Mongo client options. It is similar to providing the command line options to the Mongo client. Okay, so we say Mongo client options dot builder and create a new instance of it. And on the top of it, a new instance is created. On the top of it, we say that Socket Factory SSL by default, whatever is there, you don't have to, I mean, basic SSL connection. And then we say auto retry true, and we give some description so that it comes up in the logs and the process description, and we say build. Now this object is built. Using this object, we can connect to a run to a Mongo at this host and this port. Okay. And to execute a command, so we can say mongo client dot get me this db. It is equivalent to saying that it is equivalent to saying use db. Okay. Now once you get the handle to the db, so any line with the double slashes is a comment. And when you got the handle, this says mongo client give me get me the db, this one with this name. Okay. And once we get the DB, we say get me the collection like this, and so on. And similarly, once we have the collection handle, okay, we can execute a command called find on the top of it. Okay, find and modify, find one, get counts, all the methods are there. Group on, by on this is kept, then run MapReduce on top of it. Now, question arises that how do I run a MapReduce here? So the answer is that you define your function as a plain text, as a string, and pass those as strings to to this command MapReduce. Okay. We have create index function here, drop drop index, and so you will see a lot of functions whatever you want to execute. So right now we are saying find and then state and then run. Let's see, we should ideally get an authentication exception. Okay. Okay, let me see, we got a lot of exceptions. Remote host closed connection during handshake itself. Okay. 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 There are lots of exceptions. Let's see if I can do the same thing. Okay. MongoDB, this. See, it is able to connect from here. Show DBs. Okay. It gives an error. So for time being, I want to basically skip skip the skip the authentication for time being. But although we can pass it, it is not a big deal. Okay. Okay. Now we should try it again once more and then see what problems are we getting. So it's saying some SSL related problem. It says that ex exception executing is master command on localhost this port. What is wrong with it? So if I just delete this line, let's say I put a comment over here, will it work? Basically, I'm avoiding SSL connection. So here, what it is doing, it actually went ahead and worked because SSL was disabled. So it went to the module number 7 db, then got the collection called cities, and then using find found all the records in the collection, and then it did a it did a find.next and then got the state from each record. This is what it did. Similar to what do we do in JavaScript. Okay. Collection.find, and then we got the cursor, we went ahead and we went iterating over it. So this is how you do. Okay. Oh, you nobody can see anything? Right. So Gaurav's question is which one is sometimes you just click on my icon. Okay, then you can see because right now if I click on my icon, then it goes into that recursive mode. It keeps start saying showing all the screens. Oh. Just a second, I'll try sharing again. Okay, I have done again. Now try. So Gaurav's question here is that okay. So Gaurav's question here is that should we use Java or JavaScript? That's a very difficult question to answer. Okay. So even if you are using Java, okay, the MapReduce code will be written in JavaScript for MongoDB. And then you hand it over like a string to the MapReduce function when you are calling from Java. So there is no way to avoid JavaScript when you're dealing with MongoDB. Okay. So effectively what I'm saying is that for your requirements based on your application, say your existing application for checking your username is in Java or is in Perl, there will be a driver already in that language. There will be a driver in that language. No, you can't. As far as I know, if you see here, when I say db dot mapreduce, okay, db dot, let's say, okay, let's say we have db dot mapreduce. Why? Or let's say Mongo client. Do we have Mongo client? Mongo client, file sync, get address, get connector, get database, get max bin, get replica, sets status, get read preferences, set read preferences, set options. All of these are there. And there, here, it is supposed to have add user, add commands, add collection. And what about collection? Okay, I think it's the method is on collection. So collection dot map reduce. Yeah. Okay, just let me have a look at what it does. New DB object. Mhm. So maybe you can actually form a DB object describing your MapReduce in Java. Okay, maybe you can form, but I strongly doubt. So Bhagwat's question is, why does all these big data database JavaScript based MapReduce function? So let me be very plain to you. Okay. In 90s, people used to write their own programming language. If you remember Lotus Notes, Excel, everybody came up with their own kind of language. VB had their own and all of that. So everybody was writing their own language. The domain specific language were pretty I mean I mean everybody was writing their own domain specific language at that time. But after the JavaScript became popular, people realized that you don't need to write a programming language of your own. You could just use JavaScript. Okay. For example, for my server-side rules, where I was allowing my customers to customize their workflow, I was providing them a, a console where they could write JavaScript. Okay. And I provide all the workflow related objects to them in JavaScript, which they can manipulate. Now, and why did I do it? Because writing your own language is very difficult, while using existing JavaScript compiler is very simple and very straightforward. Okay, okay. So all you need to do in case of executing JavaScript code and say I have to write I'm a Java guy, or my product is something XYZ, and I want to give people the power of using MapReduce. Okay, so it's pretty very straightforward. Okay, very straightforward. So you don't have to invent your own language. JavaScript comes very handy. JavaScript comes very handy, and you can start using in your as a product developer. You can start giving it. Okay. No, I mean using Python is still difficult. Using Python as in b- making your domain specific language only access certain parts of the things is difficult. Okay. So in case of JavaScript, you say this is my JavaScript as a string and you execute it and also hand over 2 to 3 Java object to it, and that's it. Okay. So that's pretty easy actually. If you explore a little bit, look for Rhino, RHINO, okay, and look for V8. Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to explain is that you don't need to invent a newer language these days. For example, Google Docs. Google Docs for the backend they are using JavaScript. Okay. And it's actually very straightforward. It's very straightforward. And you can, claim that, oh, we have got our own programming language. Okay. I can at least give an example of 20 products which have their JavaScript. And nobody is writing these compilers for JavaScript. MongoDB has not written any compiler. They have just taken existing tool like V8 and to which no, it's not. It's not. JavaScript is very simple to lots of people, and JavaScript is actually most powerful out of all because you can you can create function pointers and then hand over here and there. And I mean, this is the only language which has been used by so many people in so many different manner. So it's not that difficult actually, and it's quite powerful. So any backend, front end, everything you can do in JavaScript. Node.js, for example, is a backend framework which does everything in JavaScript. Okay. I mean, you don't have to compile, you don't have to do all that jazz. It takes a lot of time to just show a MapReduce logic in case of other programming languages as compared to JavaScript. Python is also smooth. Okay, so these are forever language wars. Okay, and instead of getting into the language wars, what I would suggest is that whenever it comes to domain specific language, JavaScript does the most beautiful thing. And you can, for the piece of code which users have written, you can only provide them access to only few objects. Instead of providing the whole access to the network and the disk and this and that, you can only provide access to few things. Okay, or few of your Java object. So you take a user script, embed, hand it over couple of Java objects and say run, and it starts running, and it starts manipulating the objects. So it's as simple as that. Okay, it's actually far more powerful and popular than most of the programming languages. It's just little bit misunderstood as a scripting language, but it's pretty powerful now. No, you should learn it. It's not big deal to learn it. It's not big deal to learn it, and you can't live without learning it. That's I can guarantee. Okay. The browser is not going to change at all. Browser is going to keep on supporting JavaScript more and more every day. And in upcoming days, what will happen is that nobody is going to revamp the browser also because there are billions of people who have written JavaScript. But once you get used to it, okay, you will be able to solve these problems really neatly. Okay. So what people have done, there are all sorts of people who are doing things. Say for example, GWT guys, what they are trying to Google Web Toolkit, what they are trying to do is they take Java, you write code in Java, and then you compile it. It gets converted into JavaScript. Okay, so if you are not very comfortable, you can also do that way. But I prefer writing code in JavaScript as well because first it is very quick to test everything. Right, right. So very quick to test everything. Second, it is quite uh, basically quite flexible. Okay, very flexible. Okay, you don't have that rigidity of the unnecessary things forced upon to you by Java or anything. Okay, now let's move on. One more thing I wanted to show you was Mongo files. How many of you have tried Mongo files so far? Mongo files? Mongo files? Okay. So whenever you have to handle very large files, such as videos, you do Mongo files. Okay. I think I gave you a little bit of demo on Mongo files, didn't I? Okay. So let us take a case of the video. Okay, cool. Let me just so so this is also called gridfs. Okay. So Mongo files basically splits your whatever data you have into small chunks. Let me have a look at my folder and see the biggest file. I have got session 7, which is yesterday, and this one, and this one. So out of this, only MongoDB module 1, this is probably the Okay. So this way, what you can do is you can just say put, and it has started putting. Okay. It would create, and what's going on we'll see in the Mongo. So show collections. So we have got two things here. One is fs.chunks and other is fs.files. Do you see that here? fs.files and fs.chunks. So what MongoDB is going to do now is it is going to split split this big file into chunks. Okay, this big file into chunks. Right now it is not come yet. Okay, so these are the chunks. Okay, oh, what do you do? Length like this, size. How do you account? I think, yeah. Done. It says done. It hasn't splitted it. How come? So files.find. So it has taken my file. This was Hangout. Chunk size this. Update date this. And object ID this. Oh, it hasn't splitted the file. It hasn't splitted the file. How should I force it to split? Okay. Object ID this, file name this, chunk size this, uploaded date this, and db show collections. Am I missing something somewhere? Show dbs. Okay. Use test and show collections, and I have got fs.chunk. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, okay, I got it. I got it. So it has basically chunks contains all the files, all the chunks in this, and find, say, and limit it to one. Still, one will be big. Okay. And find one. Alright, find one. Good. So basically, chunks has got 2600 chunks here. Okay, okay, that's okay. Yeah, yeah. So no worries. I mean, we are done. Okay. So basically, in the chunks, it has sliced the file into 3000, close to 3000 pieces and kept it. If we had a cluster, so this file would have been stored on multiple machines. Okay. and would have du duplicate copies also. Okay, and each chunk has got chunks, fs.chunks dot find one and my doc. So what all property has doc got? Oi. Okay, so this way everything is inside the chunks, and all I'm trying to figure it out that if somehow, okay, so see, each collection, each document can grow up to 64 MB, right? And that is why it has to break the document into 64 MB sizes, and that is why there are 3000 documents. Okay. Oh, is it 64? Oh, I sorry, I confused with HDFS size and this size. So 16 MB into 3000. 16 MB into 3000 is this. Okay, 16 into 3000. Okay, I think it has even created a smaller chunk size for each document. Okay, is smaller than the 16 GB, 16 MB itself. Yeah. So you use basically Mongo put. Then Mongo files has got other options like get, and also you can search by prefix name. That's it. Okay. You can say Mongo list. Okay, this way. So it shows you all of this. That's it. So this was Mongo files which I had not given a demo earlier. Now let's see the project assignment part. And can you see my screen? It's coming up. Okay, the project looks little scary in the beginning. Project looks little scary in the beginning. Can you guys see it? Okay, I think I'm missing your questions. Let me just go back, close this, and close this. Yeah, I got it now. So, okay. Is there a file size? I thought 16 MB was limit. Why do I want to do this? Yeah, so when you are storing things like videos and large file size, okay, so you'll have to slice it into smaller pieces because each document cannot go beyond a certain limit. And you have to first slice this into smaller pieces and then convert it into the I mean ASCII codes. Okay. So here it's you encoded automatically for you, right? And kept it there. So MongoFS basically what it does is it slices the files and put it into separate documents, and then you can access it separately. So there are multiple objectives of it. First, your file is distributed across the network. So that if and there is a proper failover and backup. Second is streaming access. If you are building a video website, you don't want to keep the whole video on a single machine. You want to keep that video at least 10 machines separately, so that if multiple people are watching it, and first one is watching at 0th location and second one is watching from 5th onwards, they can watch from different machines instead of overloading the single machine. So that's the objective. That's the objective of this Mongo files. Whenever you have to store bigger files, then you use Mongo files. Okay. Now let us have a look at this. So this is the project assignment. Okay. The objective of this assignment is to build a Twitter with location. If you understand correctly, what does Twitter do? You write a message and you say tweet, and this message has to be 140 characters and the whole world can see it. The people who are your who have who are following you will see it. Okay, but this service is different. This service is different. Okay, in this service, let's call it quacker, in which you quack and only the nearby people can hear you. Okay, nearby as in say 1 kilometer radius. So basically people will quack with their user ID and give longitude, latitude and a message. Longitude, latitude is their location from where they are quacking, and then they can also provide tags. So in JavaScript terms, you are basically supposed to write a JavaScript function which provides you this function, which takes user ID, longitude, latitude, and then message and tags. Tags is an array of values, while longitude, latitude are the number, and user ID is maybe your internal ID or maybe something like this. Now, once user has quacked, you store this data into the database, and second step is this is first use case. So a person is quaking and other people will listen to him. So when the another user logs in, and on the dashboard he should see things in the range of 5 kilometers. Okay, so you have to provide a function called search or list, in which it is the user ID, current user ID who is logged in. Okay, his user ID and his longitude, latitude, and there is a radius in which you have to look out. Okay, these are the longitude, latitude, and this is the radius in which you have to find out all the quacks of people and then list all of those. Okay, so for the other people, when they log in, all the quacks happening in the 5 kilometer radius, you should list it. Okay, and once that is and that is the first objective. Second part is that if you specify tags are the interest areas of yours. You do not want to see the quacks related to a political party, so then you can ignore that. So only the tags which interest you can provide it, and the search results should be filtered with those tags. And remember that we had taken the tags as an array. So somebody is quacking that, does anybody know of a gym instructor nearby? And he has provided like 3 tags. Okay. So here when I'm searching, I can either leave tags empty, which means all the tags, or specify few tags. Similarly, when I'm searching, the output should be ID. This is a result ID. Does anybody know of an instructor? Somebody is asking nearby. And this. Okay. Now there is third use case where people should be able to requack it. Okay, requack as in people should be able to send I mean re, retweet, similar to retweet. So if somebody is living 1 kilometers to me, if I requack it, it will be available to other people who are 1 kilometers to me. Okay, it's as if I have quacked it, but it should mention that this is the actual quack is coming from there. So so that it increases the area of impact of a quack. Okay, it increases the area of impact of the quack. And the fourth use case is users should be able to store their preferences such as age, full name, tags in which they are interested in, and also default location. If user is not providing the default location, you are supposed to pick it from there. Now, so these are the four basic use cases of this system. The other use case, such as replying to a message, is a little advanced, and we will not do it right now. Okay. So all you have to do is write the JavaScript functions. First, before you start, you will have to do a little bit of capacity planning, as in how many users do you expect in next 1 year, and how many users do you expect in next 1 month. Okay. And in case there are these many X number of users, how many times are they going to use it? And how are you going to handle this kind of load? Okay. And how should you go ahead? Should you launch your product area by area or globally? How should you launch it? And based on your all of these estimates or your capacity planning, this is called capacity planning, where you plan what load are you going to handle and what are the various criteria you are going to take into consideration. Once you have done that, then you move ahead with the implementation. And while implementation is there, make sure that your requack, quack, and search finishes in 100 milliseconds based on the load you have assumed in the first point. Okay, your for that kind of load, your quack, requack, and search should finish within 100 milliseconds. Also, while doing so, generate generate lot of generate dummy data on a city or global level, howsoever you are planning to. Okay. So should I repeat the project? Project seems to be a little bigger, but do not worry. Okay. So I mean, this is a real service somebody was launching, and I was assisting him all the way. Here, my objective with you is not that you should be designing all the user interfaces or website. If you do that, it will be an added advantage. I mean, you will also get to learn, and you might end up building a great product. Okay. And once you have built it, the only thing will be required is to market and reach the end users in one way or the another. Okay. So it's up to you. Okay. So you are free to either build it or the complete product or only the database part. So first objective is to write a function quack with which user can post their message on a latitude longitude along with the tags. And second is search, in which a user can search in a specified radius of around him. Okay. And third use case is people should be requack it to make it to inform their friends nearby. And this way, the like a wave, the every message will propagate across the globe. Okay, if people are retweeting it. Or if people want to look at a bigger area, what's happening around the globe, in the search, they can provide a bigger radius. Okay. So hope this is clear to everybody. So if you have questions right away, ask me about this use case. Guys, are you there? So use case 1 is clear to you. Okay. The last part is not clear, the capacity planning and all. See, Bhagwat, so before you do any development, I mean, this is something I learned when I was doing things at things at Amazon and elsewhere. You try to visualize the population. What are the numbers? How many people are there? How many people will you be able to attract to this platform? And then you visualize that, oh, there would be at least 1 million people accessing this system every day. Okay, and let's just design the system with respect to that kind of traffic. So any program you write, there is no such thing called best software or best this or best that. The only thing is everything is best against certain criteria. Okay, and that criteria you need to fix. So take a decent assumption, and I want to understand your assumptions also. Take a decent assumption of the load plus the other criteria is that whenever user is accessing, every request or response should not go beyond 100 milliseconds or beyond few milliseconds. Okay, so that is why a capacity planning plus a reasonable amount of users behavior you should keep in place before designing a system. Yeah. So first you estimate the users, total number of users, total number of TPS, meaning how many people are going to access your system per second, and then you do the other planning, such as your hardware planning, such as your algorithms. How are you going to organize your code? Or how are you going to create the indexes? How are you going to create the collections and all of that? Okay, based on this information, based on your assumptions, based on your design considerations, you decide whether you want to keep this as a collection as an array of sub object, or you want to keep it as a separate object. We will simulate it. It's not a very big difficult thing to simulate. Okay, it's not a difficult thing to simulate, I can bet on that. And that's simulation is still, that is why there is a second point, right? There is a second point over here, in at the bottom. If you see, generate dummy data on a city or global level and test it. I'll just write that one also and test it, because I mean, as a part of the practice, all the developers are supposed to write the test cases for all of their data, all of their system. Okay, so generating dummy data, and so this will be on a public MongoDB server. Yeah. And I would suggest that while you are doing it right, you should actually create GitHub repositories for yourself. Because when you do a GitHub repository for yourself, what it will do is it will bring a lot of public attention to your profile. Okay. So, because the world has changed, nowadays when people look at the resume, they look at, what's your GitHub rating? Do people, look at your GitHub profile? And and that makes a lot of difference. Okay. because I mean, the way people, even inside an organization nowadays, when people want to know Gaurav or people want to know Bhagwat, they look at LinkedIn profile. Similarly, when a product company or a big large company like Amazon, they are looking at people's profile or at a good level, then what they do is they go for GitHub kind of. They also look at the GitHub profile ratings. Okay. So GitHub is a place where you upload your source code. You can clone any project or you can create your project out there, so that uh, I will also check out from there and test it from there. Okay. So that is a good way to do it. So it will also give you a decent hands-on with GitHub and all, and it actually increases your public visibility in terms of technology. Okay. So I hope this would be uh, interesting. And those who haven't finished their cluster assignment, please finish it by next Saturday, because next Saturday I am going to reorganize the clusters. Okay, out of six, I'll have to, bring down few of those. Okay, so please finish your assignment by next cluster, or what I'm going to do is basically whatever MongoDB instances you install, I'll have to remove all of that. Okay, because for assignment we might require, for the project assignment we will require a lot bigger space. Okay, so the default one which is on the machine, I will finish that part. I'll set up a default cluster on each of the machines, and then you can use those details. Okay, but you start building your application, you start coding your application, and you start thinking about what are the collections you're going to have, and let's see how it goes. And remember to have all the dummy data in place, or a script which generates the dummy data, and then you also need to test against that dummy data how performant is your system, and your dummy data should be fairly randomized. Okay. Okay, so feel free to interact, feel free to ask questions if you have anything related to MongoDB here, or anything related to technology also. So feel free to communicate. And since this is the last class, uh, and in case you are really stuck and it's required to come online and see, then let me know. Okay, I'll review your whatever you need. Okay. Cool then. We will meet next weekend. Next weekend, we will review the assignment, and next to next weekend, we will review the project. Okay. So you have 2 weeks in total to finish your cluster config plus this project. Okay. So right now you continue using it, using the cluster, and I will let you know if I'm restructuring things next week. So you have 1 week to do howsoever. Okay, you set up your cluster and you want to continue. Okay, so project right now you continue with your existing one, howsoever you want to do. The cluster is available for till next Sunday. Okay, till next Saturday. And on the next Saturday, we will remove the other instances and keep only single instance on each machine. Okay, make sense? Because right now every server is going to have around 6 instances, which is pretty inefficient because all six, the RAM is going to get divided into six. Okay, so feel free to drop me a message in case you get stuck somewhere, in case you have a doubt. Okay, and thanks for attending the sessions. It was a great session, as a matter of fact. And I hope you guys learned something from this session. So guys, I would love to seek the feedback. I'll send you the email with the feedback form. Okay. Or I will be, right now posting it to you. Okay. Okay. So I look forward for the feedback. And if you have anything, i- the way Bhagvat tells me, you know, if there is any problem at all, feel free to do that. Okay. It's a good practice to give the feedback. So I'm posting it on the chat window itself. Please provide your feedback. Okay. Thank you everybody then, and we'll meet on the next weekend. It's an optional session. Okay. If you are able to finish the cluster, let me drop me a message and I'll review it. So you don't need to attend the session. So next session I'll keep for a very short duration, maybe 1 hour or so, and I'll send you the details based on people's attendance if we are organizing the next session or not. Okay. But in my opinion, you should drop me a message saying, "Hey, you need to attend the next session," so that I organize it. Okay. If nobody is coming, then there is no point in organizing it. Okay. Thank you, Samta. Thank you, Gaurav. And thank you, Bhagwat. So you are the only three people left by the end of the class. Okay. Because, yeah, good, good, good. So I'm happy that you guys completed, and I saw that almost everybody has got the hang of what is MapReduce and what is aggregation and how to do things. Okay. So stay in touch and stay active on that Google Plus group I have created. Okay. And yeah. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Then I today we are finishing earlier than what we generally plan for. Okay. Bye bye and thank you everybody.